Trump calls the shutdown an unprecedented opportunity as he eyes deep cuts. There's Russ Vought. Okay. The president said he would meet with Russ T. Vought, the White House budget director, and they would decide whether or not those cuts would be temporary or permanent. President Trump said on Thursday that he would meet with his budget chief to determine which Democratic agencies he could try to cut, relishing the government shutdown as an unprecedented opportunity to achieve his agenda and dismantle federal programs. Mr. Trump did not specify in a post on social media whether he sought to slash spending or lay off federal workers, both of which he's threatened since the federal funding lapsed. Rather, the president said his discussion with Russell T. Vought, the White House budget director, would touch on whether or not those cuts would be temporary or permanent. Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary and propagandist, signaled anew that Mr. Trump is eyeing another round of mass federal layoffs. She told reporters that it was likely the government could shed workers by the thousands if the shutdown continues, adding that the president would further refine the plan Thursday. The comments from Mr. Trump and his top aides underscored their growing desire to take advantage of the government-wide closure, which began at midnight on Wednesday. Rather than try to broker a resolution, the president is focused on leveraging the standoff, aiming to carry out his long-sought reconfiguration of Washington while inflicting mass pain on his political adversaries. I don't think it's unreasonable for the president to use all the levers, said Scott Bessent, the gay Treasury Secretary, during an appearance on CNBC on Thursday. He declined to offer specifics about the layoffs or cuts the president was considering. He acknowledged that a shutdown could hurt the U.S. economy. On the first day of the shutdown, Mr. Trump and his top aides halted about $26 billion in previously approved funding for infrastructure and green energy projects, primarily in Democratic-run states. The administration appeared to single out New York, a state whose delegation includes Representative Hakeem Jeffries and Senator Chuck Schumer, the Democrats' leader in the House and Senate. Mr. Vought also told Republican lawmakers in a call Wednesday that mass layoffs targeting federal workers were imminent, suggesting that the administration could focus on employees who serve in roles that do not comport with the president's political agenda. You mean fascism? Many federal workers are already furloughed, and others are forced to work during the shutdown without pay, prompting unions to sue to block the firings. The White House declined to comment on the meeting. For the president and Mr. Vought, their tactics marked an escalation in a cost-cutting campaign that began at the start of Mr. Trump's second term and the early work of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, which was a data mining operation, let's all be honest, that had nothing to do with fucking cutting fraud, waste, or abuse. Through more than 8 months, they have dismissed droves of civil servants, closed agencies, and canceled billions of dollars in spending, sometimes in ways that have tested the law and defied Congress, I'd say. And also, this is about the Dark Enlightenment. This is about, Curtis Yarvin wrote a long time ago the acronym, RAGE, Retire All Government Employees. This is exactly why they wanted to get rid of all these government employees, because it goes right along with the Dark Enlightenment, which is the actual ending of democracy. These people don't want democracy anymore. They think it's a failed experiment. They want a monarch in place to rule. They want America to be ruled like a corporation run by a CEO. Don't believe me? Look it up. Curtis Yarvin, Peter Thiel, David Sachs, Mark Andreessen. They're all in on it. Elon Musk. But J.D. Vance specifically. Mr. Trump and Mr. Vought have pursued a dramatic retrenchment in government spending, proposing a budget that would slash about $163 billion in the 2026 fiscal year, largely by eliminating a vast set of climate, education, health, and housing programs, including some that benefit the poor. In a social media post, Mr. Trump on Thursday referenced Mr. Vought's work on Project 2025, which he said he had nothing to do with. Remember that? The right-wing blueprint that similarly called for an overhaul of the federal government. In that document, Mr. Vought opined on the existential need for aggressive use of vast powers of the executive branch. Mr. Trump's renewed attacks on Democrats appear to undercut his own deputies, including Vice President J.D. Vance, who just a day earlier insisted that the president was not seeking to politicize the shutdown. We're not targeting federal agencies based on politics, he told reporters at a briefing on Wednesday. Mr. Vance instead maintained that layoffs in particular would help the government preserve essential services. Never in any government shutdown have they had to fire workers, but yeah. So President Trump said in a Truth Social post that he would meet today with Russ T. Vought, his budget director, to determine which of the many Democratic agencies, most of which are a political scam, he said, recommends to be cut. Trump said the cuts could be temporary or permanent and described the shutdown as an unprecedented opportunity. On the first day of the government shutdown, of course, the White House on Wednesday insisted that President Trump wanted to fix the healthcare system, the very issue the Democrats in Congress have said is their top priority. White House officials, including Vice President J.D. Vance, said that Mr. Trump was open to Democratic leaders' suggestions for improving access to the health insurance, but that they were adamant that the shutdown was not needed to meet their goal. That's all he's doing. The Trump administration took steps on Wednesday to maximize the pain of the government shutdown, halting billions of dollars in funds for Democratic-led states while readying a plan to lay off potentially droves of civil servants imminently. The move by the White House appeared both unprecedented and punitive, underscoring the risks of a fiscal stalemate that had no end in sight. It also evinced how President Trump might try to leverage the government-wide closure to achieve his agenda, slash the budget, and exact revenge on his political enemies. In a series of social media posts between Rusty Vogt, the White House budget director, has been saying that the administration paused or moved to cancel the delivery of about $26 billion in previously approved funds across a range of programs, describing the money as wasteful or in need of further review. The timing is not mere coincidence, nor was Mr. Vogt's choice of location. He said this administration was terminating one tranche of funds totaling about $8 billion because it was green new scam funding to fuel the left's climate agenda, a move that affected projects in 16 states, most of which are led by Democrats. And also they paused $18 billion in approved infrastructure funding for two major transportation projects, primarily in New York City. That's all they want. They just want to inflict maximum pain on Democrats. And the sooner people see that this is the way that he's doing his government work, the people that haven't seen it so far, if you don't know that this is how he's governing, he wants to be this mafioso guy, this tough guy. He thinks walking out there in front of those generals in his slouching, shuffling way was like walking tough. Like he was just, I'm just going to go slow out here, yeah.
It's okay. I've never walked into a room that was so quiet before, generals. You can applaud if you want. Go ahead. You can applaud.
That's what you got. I'm not sure that those men that were spoken to in such a condescending fashion by Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump, I don't think those men are going to be rushing to be the first in line to shred the Constitution the way these motherfuckers have. This is their whole goal, is to trash our Constitution and fuck our whole government off, because this is what they're trying to do all along, is dismantle democracy. I've been screaming this from the rooftops for almost 2 years now about Curtis Yarvin, Peter Thiel, and their dark enlightenment, anti-democratic push to turn America into a monarchy and chop up the land and section it off into little freedom cities that are each ruled by a little CEO manager. That's what they want here in the United States. So I hope things don't have to get much worse before more people start to wake up.